Hi everybody, this is Jennifer and welcome to my channel. So today I'm wrapping up all the plays I read, well, minus the first one, for Shaketube 2018. Yeah, I slacked off weeks 2 and 3 on making videos. However, I did read 3 more plays. I read The Merry Wives of Windsor, I read As You Like It, and I read The Tempest. So let's go ahead and get started. Right after, I had a bit of a play hangover after Titus Andronicus, but I eventually got back into The Merry Wives of Windsor, and I'm really glad I did because I really enjoyed it. There were a couple of parts that reminded me of Jane Austen a bit, especially that part in the beginning where the men are talking about Anne Page, and one of her main attractions is that she's getting like 600 pounds from her grandfather. I'm like, yeah, like that scene itself echoed a scene where Mrs. Gardner is talking to the girls about Miss King, who's Wickham wants to marry because she's inheriting 30,000 pounds. That made me think of that. And also where the father and the mother want Anne to each marry a different man. That I thought was amusing. Yeah, that one was really fun and it was really quotable, and I think it does not get enough credit for being really fun and all that. Yeah, I ended up giving that. Do you really want to hear my, well, if you want to know what my star rating was, it was 4, because I thought it was really fun and really quotable. Like how Anne Page would rather be buried up to her neck and then boiled to death by turnips than marry Dr. Caius. That I thought was seriously fun. And also, I wonder if it's meant to be like a backhanded thing against the French, that Dr. Caius is the only one who doesn't realize he's marrying a boy, and it goes ahead and goes through with the wedding anyway. Whereas Slender puts a stop to it. I don't know. Anyway, it was fun though. Next up was As You Like It, and I thought that was really good too. It was a little bit more familiar to me as far as quotes and all that. However, I do have to say I did not like it quite as much. I thought it was a bit bloated. I think who was it? One of the other couples. Well, for one, okay, so Orlando, the brother who wants to, Oliver, the brother who wants to kill Orlando. So one trip to the woods, suddenly he does not any longer want to kill his brother, and he wants to marry someone he barely knows. I don't know. Frankly, I think people's motivations aren't as clearly defined in As You Like It as they could be. And like I said, there's a couple of those relationships, like Touchstone, and then the other, like Shepherd or whatever. I don't know why those are in there. And I think it made the play feel too long to me, and it was just a little bit ridiculous. That's just my opinion. But in general, I really thought it was nice. Though I don't know. I thought, like I said, I don't really think that people's motivations are well defined or well drawn in this play as much as it could be, and it did feel overlong, so I didn't like it quite as much, but I still did like it. So the last play that I read was The Tempest, and I did not realize how many quotes I knew from The Tempest. You know, that's where the quote for The Brave New World comes from. There are others. The thing I think I'm going to remember most about The Tempest is the character Caliban. he's a he reminds me really very much of Golem in the Lord of the Rings. Just because he's a very pathetic character, and he made me, I was very sad. I was very sad for Caliban when I was reading the play. And yeah, when I looked at the classification for the poem, the play, I do not know why I keep calling it a poem. I'm sorry. When I looked up the classification of the play, it's considered a comedy or sometimes like a romance. I don't know why, because Ferdinand and Miranda have very small parts in this, but I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't call it a tragedy because people don't die in it, and everything ends up pretty much okay. So, well, somebody gets married, so I guess that would be a comedy. That would make it a comedy. And speaking of marriage, and speaking of like parts of plays being bloated, what is that whole scene with Juno and Ceres and all that supposed to signify? I know it has a little bit because they take the time to badmouth Venus, and I know one of the major themes of the play is, earthly versus like spiritual things. Both Caliban and Ferdinand want Miranda, and they are, they're kind of foils for each other, because you see, like, when I was reading some of the essays, I read that, Prospero sends Caliban out to get wood, and then in the next scene you see Ferdinand coming back with a log and stuff like that. So they're supposed to be foils for each other, and the main difference is Caliban wants Miranda in a very earthly way, but Ferdinand agrees to wait until they're married and all that good stuff. So yeah, I get that one of the major themes is that, and that does illustrate that in a way, because Juno is Jupiter's wife, and Ceres is, they're just more, they're less lusty, because Venus and Cupid get talked down at very harshly in that scene. And so I know that's mainly what it's supposed to illustrate, but there's just too much of it. Well, it's not that there's too much. It's that it's very clearly shown in other parts of the play. So it just still felt a little extraneous, and they're not characters that are introduced, it's just nearing the end of the play. So I don't know why that has to be in there. And that kind of drew it out a little bit too long for me. But in general, I really liked it, and I thought all the characters were very memorable. And I don't know, I really, really enjoyed it. It's a toss-up as to whether The Merry Wives of Windsor or this one is my favorite play that I read during Shaketube. But I've expanded my Shakespeare horizons by 4 plays. I'm really happy about that. And for the most part, I really enjoyed the experience of Shaketube. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap up for now because I'm kind of on the tired side, as if you couldn't tell by my stammering and missing my words and stuff. But, yeah, this was really fun, and I'm really glad I did it. And you know what? If you guys read stuff for Shaketube and you want to talk about it, you can do so in the comments. You can make comments about the stuff that I read. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.